Hi everyone, welcome to Talking with Geoffrey, and I'm Geoffrey. There is an issue that's been on my heartstring for quite some time, and quite possibly on yours as well. When it comes to us as consumers, we more often or not want the next thing, regardless if it's newer and better clothes, newer and better automobiles, bigger and better homes. It's not just us as consumers that are responsible for this. It's corporations and big tech companies that share the blame and responsibility as well. The category of waste that's just piling up in our landfills and harming the environment would be our electronics. What we do often forget is the environmental impacts from e-waste. We're always wanting to upgrade to better technology, whether or not we need it, and big tech companies are going to take advantage of the electronic market with overly advertised products for televisions, tablets, smartphones, computers, etc. We never seem to keep any electronics in use longer than 1 or 2 years on average, as we want that piece of tech to be newer. And with these pieces of technology, we often see them later as outdated, obsolete, and not really fitting our current circumstances within that 1 to 2 year time frame for what we need it for. Let's say that we have a non-smart TV from 2016. We feel the need and want to upgrade to a smart TV where we can download and use apps on it, even though the non-smart TV still works perfectly fine. I have a non-smart TV from 2016 and I repurposed it as a computer monitor when now I have it as a backup TV for when my smart TV breaks down. I only bought a new TV just because my computer monitor at the time broke and I had to use my old TV as a monitor. If your TV still works perfectly fine, then there isn't a reason to upgrade to a new one. If your TV costs more than $500, and if it breaks, just get that TV fixed, or at least learn how to fix it yourself. It wouldn't necessarily be cheaper to just up and get a new one, and then junking the broken TV. Now, this one is where it's more on the smartphone, tablet, and computer companies, where they are heavily contributing to the e-waste that is actually harming our planet. I will start with smartphones and tablets. Smartphones and tablets, they have a short, limited lifespan for support before being considered obsolete, retro, and such. As much as I love Androids, companies that make smart devices using Android OS have a very, very short and small supported lifespan of less than 5 years. Apple, with iOS, they have their devices supported for a minimum of 7 years. Sometimes as long as 11 years, which is surprisingly long. Both Android and iOS devices, the companies that control and make them, they design numerous tablets and phones yearly instead of releasing them every few years. These tech companies are putting profits from us as consumers ahead of the environmental impact. You'd actually be surprised at how many people on this planet forget just how toxic and dangerous the lithium batteries are, especially when they get tossed in the landfills. The oldest Android update version that is still relevant and just barely hanging on is Android 10. and we are on, as of this recording, on Android 16 for certain Android devices. And for iOS devices, iOS 26. The oldest and barely relevant iOS that still can be used is iOS 16. Within a few months to a year after this upload, the oldest iOS still supported will probably be iOS 17. All the devices that can't support the current update versions on both are pretty much junk. Sad to say. If the tablets and phones still work for calling and texting, checking emails, and taking pictures, then they should always be supported. That's not the world that we live in. Earlier, I mentioned computers. Computer companies release new models yearly, with numerous models. Apple is one of the companies that has the longest support for their devices and computers. Microsoft, they just keep a computer updated for pretty much 5 to 7 years before labeling it as obsolete and outdated to force us to buy newer computers that are new and relevant. Both Microsoft and Apple, on those operating systems, they feed into the consumers on what they and we want. The only OS operating system and operating software that I actually love for thinking about the environment and repurposing electronics and helping to reduce the e-waste are those that use Linux. If you have an old computer, you could simply swap the outdated OS with Linux, and it will always be supported with that. Linus Torvalds. He is still alive, and he is the one that created Linux, that helps many computers from going to the landfills to reducing the environmental impact of our planet. Many people actually do run on Linux operating systems. Many employers, unfortunately, use Microsoft's Windows OS for their software preference and for their work software and work programs. The companies that do utilize and use Linux instantly have my respect. Even more respect from me if they actually buy used computers, make necessary repairs in order for them to be repurposed and reused in the workforce. I have 2 laptops. Both came with Windows 10, and they both now have Linux as the OS, so they can keep being used for as long as necessarily possible. Down in the comments, let me know what you think of e-waste, and do you try to keep reusing your electronics by fixing and repurposing them? Let me know down below. And if you like this, don't forget to subscribe for more. Don't forget to press that like button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss any of these talks. And peace.